We're looking at a very familiar sight, a construction crew along a roadside installing something new. In this case, they are laying the cable for new street lighting for a local community. Now, your logical assumption would be it's the electric company doing this kind of work, but nowadays, more often than not, you would be wrong. Because the utilities now are most often turning to subcontractors to do this kind of work. It's because they can do it more efficiently and at a lower cost. As a result, throughout the greater New York tri-state area, and in fact all of New England, it has now become very common to see trucks with the name of Hawkeye on the side of them. Hawkeye has in effect become the right arm to many of the largest utilities throughout the country, and their story is really amazing. Launched back in 1999 as a privately held company, Hawkeye has grown from a $10 million business to a $110 million business in 6 short years. It really is on a roll. To get their story, we turned to Hawkeye's Director of Business Development, Steve Pursuti, who told us what Hawkeye is really all about.
What Hawkeye is all about is construction and maintenance of infrastructure services, primarily electric and natural gas infrastructure. However, we do have a service line that focuses on fiber and telecommunications. So what we're all about is really optimizing an owner's assets in terms of infrastructure, making sure that they're built correctly and maintained correctly so that the customer, who's really at the end of that infrastructure, whether it's an electric wire or a gas main or service or a telephone or cable connection, gets uninterrupted, high reliable, high quality service.
Now, is this gas, electric, all power?
It's all power. It's primarily, when I say gas, I mean natural gas, pipeline gas that heats a house or powers a factory. Our core customers are utilities, and utilities rely on contractors like us to build and maintain their systems.
Steve, when you say infrastructure, what do you mean by that? What does it actually entail?
What it entails primarily is the support, the facility support to get a product from where it's originally generated to its final destination. On the electric side, the infrastructure really from the power plant that generates the electricity requires it to be transmitted and then distributed to a customer's home. On the natural gas side, it's really from a wellhead where the production and the wells are to the burner tip where somebody again has a boiler or a water heater or an appliance in their home that needs the product.
So does this, for example, mean you are the guys who actually install the power lines?
We install the power lines, the poles, the wires, the pipes on the natural gas side. We also have an ability and experience with actually building power plants. We did a power plant for ourselves in a contract situation with the Long Island Power Authority, where we actually built a 54 megawatt peaking plant in New York. So we have the ability, because of our construction skills and engineering skills, to build power plants, but our core competency is the transmission and distribution of that electron or that molecule of natural gas.
You know, it's funny, most people would think the actual utility would be the company doing that work.
Traditionally, the utility did do it all themselves. They were vertically integrated. They were the ones who built the power plant, who generated the power, who built the transmission system, transmitted the power out, and then built the distribution system and handled all of that from generation to your meter at your home.
You know, this company really has a phenomenal growth rate since its inception some 6 years ago. It's amazing.
This company's name, Hawkeye, was established in 1999. The history, though, the owner of Hawkeye, Bill Hoagland, actually has been in this business since he started as a union electric lineman, journeyman, working for other companies. He realized as he was growing up in the business that he thought he could probably do it himself better than the people he was working with or for, and that model has proven out over time. We've grown from a single-digit $5 to $9 to $10 million company to over $100 million in just 6 years.
So what do you attribute this phenomenal growth to?
I think it's the people. Bill has been very good about recruiting and maintaining and retaining very competent employees. Employees are our most important asset. We have a lot of empowerment in the organization. The culture here is a very, it's a work hard, play hard culture. it keeps the right people in the organization for the right kind of company we want to be. We actually have people who understand the equipment and can establish a maintenance protocol on that equipment so that the need to rebuild or replace that equipment is extended. One of the things that we've got some experience because we own and operate our own power plant is that it's given us the attitude and the culture of making sure that we can optimize the life of that piece of equipment.
Who are the clients that you primarily work for? What are some of their names?
Con Edison in New York City, Keyspan in Long Island Power Authority, Energy East, which is a parent company of 5 or 6 regional operating companies, and National Grid. We like to take the time when we can to talk to our customers to find out how they perceive us, and if there's some deficiency that they see, we do what we can to correct that, because obviously customer satisfaction gets us our repeat business. Repeat business for us is again key, because it just helps us maintain a steady workforce and it just keeps a client relationship strong.
You also work for Fortune 500 companies like General Electric and many others, right?
There's a lot of desire in the market now for turnkey solutions. Part of our positioning at Hawkeye is to talk to the manufacturers of the equipment, the high voltage equipment, for example, General Electric, GE, Westinghouse, Siemens, ABB, Alstom. Those companies are sometimes asked to provide a turnkey solution themselves, and they'll look to a field services organization like Hawkeye, where we can provide the engineering support, we can provide the actual tools and the men and the trucks and the equipment to do the installation and the maintenance of their equipment for the utility.
What about the kinds of employees that you have here at Hawkeye?
The disciplines of the people in our organization vary. We have engineers in the civil, electrical, and the mechanical side of the industry. We also have, on the support side, we have CPAs or MBAs or financial people to handle all the back office, payroll, accounting, all that typical administrative work. But then in the field, we have very qualified construction managers, general foremen and superintendents, and then electricians, linemen, and then laborers who can provide the real work in the field.
What we're doing is we're installing a conduit for street lighting. We drilled 360 feet down the road to get to this particular point, and now we're pulling the conduit in back to the drill. Basically, when they push, it's got a drill bit on the end that's set on an angle, and when they push it at a certain for a certain distance, it will turn a certain amount, and that's how they get the correct arc to turn around this particular street. We also install gas mains, gas services, electric lines, electric services. Anything for the utilities. We also do telephone work for Verizon.
When you come right down to it, who are the main beneficiaries of your services?
The primary beneficiary of our services is the end user, the customer. The utility and us both actually have the same customer in mind. It's the homeowner, it's the business owner, it's that commercial institutional customer, the person that really depends on the electricity or the natural gas fuel for heating or for cooling or for running equipment so they can run their business. So even though our utility customer, we see the utility as our customer, the end game really is to rebuild that system, install a new piece of equipment for the ultimate end user of that electron or that natural gas molecule. So it's the customer, the residential, commercial, industrial customer at the end of the pipeline, the end of the transmission distribution wire.
And Steve, what do you see for the future of Hawkeye as you look down the road? I mean, you've had a great growth so far. What lies ahead?
Hawkeye's looking to expand its service portfolio and let the market understand that we're an integrated construction and maintenance company, and not only can we build the transmission and distribution system, we can also build the source of power. We've built our own power plant. We think that down the road there'll be more distributed generation in the marketplace, so there won't be one big central plant that's being relied on to serve a large community. They'll take that big plant and break it down into a lot of smaller plants. Hawkeye now, with some engineering capability on board, has the ability to review and analyze the opportunity for a customer to actually disconnect from the grid and build its own small power plant on its own property, and Hawkeye can build that for them and maintain it for them so that they're not dependent on a bigger system.
The inspiring story of Hawkeye, one of the fastest growing, most respected utility construction contractors in the country. I'm Doug Llewellyn reporting from Hauppauge, Long Island.